Hey guys, Rolando Rodriguez here with
Alejandro
and xgains.com, where we got workouts that work, eats to satisfy, and everything else you need to reach your lifestyle goals. So here we are. It is January the 8th, 2018, and I specifically am about to kick off my ketogenic eating approach for the year of 2018. As you guys may or may not already know, I follow a ketogenic diet about 11 months, certainly 10 months out of the year. But the last 2 weeks of every year is really tough for us because we have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, which is my nephew's birthday. Then we got my daughter's birthday on the 4th, and we're celebrating pretty much nonstop with family and friends that are from out of town, and I'm sure a lot of people out there have the same situation and are in the same boat. So every year, second week of January, get back on the horse and try to hit it hard that year and make improvements in terms of my eating approach and my fitness routine. Today we're going to be talking specifically about the dieting approach. When we start, or my wife and I start a low-carb, high-fat eating approach, the kids are on board for the most part. Their carbs end up being reduced drastically. Do they still have their desserts? Do they still have their carbs with their meals? Absolutely. My family's Cuban, so these kids think every meal should have rice, just like I did growing up. But now mine is cauliflower rice, which I'll touch on in a little bit, and they'll just eat the regular white rice. Talked about it before. Kids growing up, they can go sort of lower carb, higher fat, but they still need their carbs. And as long as they're active and growing, everything's, growing both horizontally and specifically vertically instead of just horizontally, everything's okay, and they can keep doing what they're doing. What we have here, and some things on the bench as well that I'll be showing you guys, is pretty much our typical, or my typical ketogenic grocery list. I'm going to start off in the front with the vegetables. Anything that's dark, leafy, and green is normally okay in terms of the amount of carbs that it has, net or total, really. So we got some Brussels sprouts, some broccoli, spinach, pointed to the mushrooms, but the spinach. We got some romaine lettuce, which we utilize these Caesar salad kits a lot. I know romaine lettuce itself doesn't pack a lot of micronutrients, but you get some healthy fats in there, some cheese, it's some protein, and his little brother yelling like a banshee in the background. I apologize. And it makes for a pretty healthy, nutritious meal. We also have up front mushrooms that we eat with steak, chicken marsala, adapted to keto, which is, a recipe that I love that I've shared with you guys before. And all these things that you see here, we utilize to make a number of different meals that I think, make it extremely easy and tasty to stay on the ketogenic diet. I do not miss in terms of flavor anything when I'm following a ketogenic diet. I promise you that. Our favorite cheeses that we use, we got feta, we got goat cheese. You can lift it up, Papo. Provolone. My wife actually likes Gouda too. Swiss, mozzarella, they're not here. We got the Parmesan cheese.
Parmesan or Reggiano?
A Reggiano, right? It's got to be that Reggiano. I had a friend that put us onto that, and it just tastes different in our opinion, but it doesn't have to be. We just prefer it to be. And we'd prefer it to be in a, natural state where we shred it, but we don't have that. So anyways.
I mostly only use that cheese when my mom just makes normal buttered pasta for us as a quick little snack. I just put that on the pasta, that specific one. But if we have like pasta with tomato sauce and beef, then I use powdered.
Oh, so he switches up the type of Parmesan that he uses depending on what he's eating. I can appreciate that. Green beans, broccoli, spinach, even the Brussels sprouts can be done really quickly with some butter, salted to taste. Brussels sprouts, if you throw some bacon fat grease in there, even better. But these are things that can be heated up in a matter of, a couple of minutes. Ketogenic diet does not have to take up a lot of your time. In terms of the fats that we utilize, Kalamata Olives, my wife loves that with a passion. Of course, extra virgin olive oil. This is not in the case, and I think I might have talked about this before, but this is Holy Moly Guacamole, and it's pretty tasty, and it's a quick fix for guacamole, or an avocado fix if the avocados are not ripe. But I'll eat, you know, at least one avocado a day, sometimes two, depending on what I need to eat. And, you know, the grass-fed butter. This is Kerrygold Butters. Where do we get this from?
Publix or Costco?
Costco. Speaking of Costco, Costco now sells this big bag of cauliflower rice, which we used to have to purchase at Publix. And my wife says when Publix or Kroger has it on sale, it's actually cheaper than getting it at Costco. But I love the fact that Costco is now hip to the game in terms of what people are wanting out there and has this as an option. Cauliflower rice, in my opinion, goes great and substitutes extremely, almost to the T, when you're eating Cuban food. Picadillo, carne con papa, minus the papa. We'll do like carne con habichuela, which is medallion, beef medallions with green beans. Even my wife does stir-fried Asian foods, and I don't have an issue at all eating it with the cauliflower rice. I actually like it. I personally now think cauliflower rice itself has more flavor than regular rice, and I prefer that flavor. The only thing I have not tried cauliflower rice with is black beans. Being Cuban, that's almost a sin that I haven't attempted that. I don't eat beans, legumes, while following a ketogenic diet. But if my mom makes a pot of black beans, I'm gonna, or my wife for that matter, I'll make sure I take that into account for my week's carb intake. So to continue, in the back we have chicken, and this is chicken breast. And now a lot of people will give me crap about the fact that I eat chicken breasts. But if you're trying to hit your protein intake following a ketogenic diet and maintain a strict caloric intake or a lower caloric intake, a lean meat is where you're probably going to have to find your protein sources from, because you're trying to hit your macros correctly if you're trying to really be cognitive of trying to stay in positive nitrogen balance so that you can continue to gain lean muscle, especially while you're cutting. So, and I said that while you're cutting, I don't know why I said it like that. So people do give me crap about the lean cuts of meat, specifically the chicken breast, when following a ketogenic diet, but I might pair it with some cheese or some aguacate just to get the balance, the ratios in check. We do, and my wife does this thing where it's just mojo, fry these drumsticks, so dark meat, or she'll make a chicken soup and have dark meat in it. So I do like my dark meat chicken, and I do eat it on occasion. Some people like the flavor of dark meat chicken better than white. I like them both pretty much the same. I used to like white better, but nowadays I like them the same. And my wife will also buy these wings from Kirkland, from Costco, and make chicken wings, which I have to have her recipe up there because they're insanely good. Over there we got some bacon, the notorious bacon when it comes to the ketogenic diet. My kids eat more bacon than I do when I'm following a ketogenic diet. Sometimes I'll have, which you do not see at this spread today, sausage. What is it, Jacqueline? Calabasa sausages? Kielbasa sausages. My wife's over there with the baby. Kielbasa. I can't really talk, as some of you have already noticed on this channel, but kielbasa. Kielbasa. I'm seriously, I speak 2 languages and I practically don't speak either of them. But anyways, if you hear some babies crying in the background, that's the newbie. Maybe Jacqueline can show us the newbie before the video's done. I don't have that sausage here because what I'll do is I'll cook that sausage and then have the grease in a pan and utilize the grease with some extra butter to cook my eggs. But I love those sausages, and I can overeat extremely easily with those sausages. Another thing that you do not see on this spread today are some Parmesan crackers. You know, these wisps that they used to make that I'd love, and Costco still sells them, but I realized that I could easily overeat on them just because they're fun to eat, they taste delicious, and I'm like nonstop. So even though you can eat more than you normally could on a ketogenic diet in terms of calories and not show it on your body's composition, you can overeat on any dieting approach, so you got to keep that in check. And if there's items where you indulge in or overindulge in on a regular basis, maybe it's better not to have those items at all. Let's continue with the meats. Actually, I guess the protein sources. Got the eggs in the back, the infamous eggs, which you guys know sometimes I'll do the ketogenic egg diet. I did it a number of times last year, and I'm going to do it again this year, and I'll probably make some more videos about that. Eggs, though, when you think of protein, actually have more fat than protein in them, so it's a good source of both. We also have some red meats. This is actually a beef loin flat meat steak, and I actually love flap steak. My wife, we just bought it one day because it was a little cheaper. That steak not only when you cook it is it soft, but when you reheat it, it stays soft. I love flap steak. It's really one of my favorites nowadays. We also got short ribs. Now, short rib, my wife bought it like this, pre-vacuum sealed at Costco, and it's $7.90 a pound. The cheapest I've seen this without being vacuumed like this is about, $9.80. So this is almost $2 cheaper than the cheapest. Sometimes it's $12, but skirt steak itself is great. The fat that's in there and that you can render from it is amazing. And I'll have some recipes of my wife's favorite skirt steak crock pot meals later on. So this is the Alaskan salmon bought from Costco, and it comes pre-seasoned, and we think, me and the boys love it. And of course,
especially the crispy parts.
Of course, salmon, not only the protein, but the fats that are in it are extremely good for you. A lot of people believe that you should have some type of, fatty fish, something like salmon, at least 3 days a week. We have it about at least once a week. And the back right there, we got the vinegar, because oil and vinegar go really well when making a quick little salad. That's red wine vinegar, though. And then we got apple cider and regular just rice wine vinegar, which we did not have at the moment because we go through that really, really quickly. In terms of vegetables you have to look out for that are in the back. Let's see the vegetables, Papo.
Technically fruits in American. Everything is seeds. American ways, everything with seeds is a fruit.
So in American ways, the peppers are technically a fruit, just like the tomatoes, right? So
And pumpkins.
And pumpkins. Being a fruit, they're going to be, have higher starch content, so they're going to have more carbs than the dark leafy greens. If you stay dark leafy greens, you don't really have to worry about it in terms of counting your carbs if you're following a ketogenic diet. But when you start introducing things like onions, peppers, carrots, tomatoes, you got to be cognitive of how many of those you're actually intaking. If you're following a low carb, high fat diet, you probably don't have to worry about it. But if you want to be ketogenic, you have to sort of say, hey, which vegetables and fruits are high in carbs? You just have, the sweeter they are, the more carbs they have in them. Simple as that. And if you really want to find out, do a little research. If you want to be, on point in terms of what you're doing, do a little research and find out if what you're eating has too many carbs or not. So in terms of fruits, which you don't see out here, but we do eat blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, and that's really much the three that I stick to when I'm trying to follow a ketogenic diet, because bananas, apples, technically you could have them if you're following a low carb, high fat diet, but if you're trying to be ketogenic, it's going to be tough. You don't want to replace things that have high micronutrient value with other items that don't, just because you want to get the sweet taste. Your body will start to crave these vegetables, dark leafy greens, the more you get into ketosis and the longer that you're in there. I always notice that when re-jumping back on a ketogenic diet, I stay away from the fats and the meats. They sort of gross me out. But once I'm ketogenic for a couple of weeks, it's what I want. Like, I know that I'm kicking on all cylinders when I actually want to eat the fat from the meats look appetizing to me. That's when I know I'm kicking on all cylinders and going in the right direction. In terms of supplements, you guys know I do BCAs. I start sipping on BCAs starting about 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and today I haven't at all, and it is 4:41. Trained completely fasted, did some abs and some sprints with these kids, and I haven't eaten anything or drunk any of my BCAs, but I'll have 32 ounces of water, and I'll mix 1 scoop of non-caffeinated BCAs with 2 scoops of caffeinated BCAs. Actually, 3 scoops. I'll do 2 scoops of fruit punch, 1 scoop of watermelon, or vice versa, just to switch up the flavor. But I'll do 3 scoops of caffeinated, 1 scoop of non-caffeinated BCAs, and I'll mix that with 32 ounces of water. Again, start drinking it around 2 p.m., and it lasts me for the remainder of the day. So I don't chug 32 ounces of water at 2 p.m. that has, a serving or 2 of BCAs in it. In terms of my final meal / dessert, when I'm following a ketogenic diet, I absolutely love this Shakeology flavor. I used to drink chocolate, and I liked it, but the cafe latte I actually love, and it feels like a treat to me. I will mix this in with 3/4 cups almond milk, 1/4 cup heavy cream, some cinnamon, and a little vanilla extract. And then I'll add a little bit of salt to taste, and I think it's phenomenal. I actually enjoy that very, very much. Here we go. Here's the cinnamon, of course, from Costco. Now, speaking of salt that I add to the Shakeology, I also will drink a cup of chicken or beef broth, salted to taste with pepper, on a regular basis. I will eat about 4 to 6 grams of salt every single day when following a ketogenic diet. And that's something you guys need to pay attention to when starting a ketogenic diet. It's really important to keep your salt intake high, okay? If you don't want to experience, or if you want to minimize lightheadedness, if you want to minimize the quote-unquote keto flu, salt intake is crucial. Maintain your electrolytes, potassium and the magnesium. Make sure you're getting your dark leafy greens, but also that you're increasing the amount of sodium that you're intaking. Chicken broth's great way to do that. Finally, I forgot to mention the nuts. You can eat nuts, but you got to make sure that they are the nuts that don't contain a lot of carbs. Pecans are great, walnuts are great, almonds are pretty good. Pistachios, which I think are delicious, can get a little dangerous. If you're trying to get ketogenic and you're trying to stay in ketosis, you know, depending on how many nuts you have a day, that could be, you know, the make or break decision in terms of keeping you ketogenic. Remember, dark leafy greens is where it's at in terms of not really having to count your carbs when following a ketogenic diet. If you start looking at the onions, the green peppers, the carrots, the tomatoes, any vegetables or fruits that are higher in starch, that are sweeter, that you actually taste, especially corn, right? You're going to have to actually keep those to a minimum intake if you're trying to stay ketogenic. In terms of meats, get the fattier meats if you can. If you're worried about your caloric intake, then you might want some leaner meat so that you can maintain your protein intake at the level that you want. For me, dairy products are okay, but if you personally have issues with dairy products and you want to see how bad your issues are, remove dairy products from your menu for a couple of weeks. Then reintroduce them slowly and see what happens. See how you feel. I'll have recipes up to show you guys what you can make with these type foods. We have a new baby right here, Alejandro. Not Alejandro, but that's, don't fall. Mama, help him out. Ah! That is Adrian Carlos. I forgot his middle name. I'm the worst father on the face of the planet. That's Adrian Carlos Rodriguez, and he is a month old today. We're going to see him in the videos, of course, just like Ella Bella, Stinkerella, because I live at home with my kids, and this is real life, guys. Anyways, that's it for now. This is Rolando Rodriguez.
Alejandro Rodriguez.
Please let me know if you got any questions or comments down below. Please like, subscribe, and share to this channel if you haven't done so already. I'd greatly appreciate it. The website, again, is that's the symbol, not the word, gains.com. And we hope you have a fantastic day.